Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new edition of the Global Wisdom Gathering, Dreaming the New Earth, our creative nature portal to wholeness. This 5-day event is an in-depth conversation about our inherent connection with creation, about humans as part of and not separate from nature. It is about how we can experience true belonging here on our exquisite planet and about our innate power to create, all of which is key in our journey toward liberation, expansion, and sovereignty. We also explore the land, the plant, and animal worlds as allies and teachers and how they are showing the way. And I'm very excited to be here with Ellie Paskell. Welcome, Ellie. It's really good to see you. And yeah, thank you for being part of this event. I'm excited and honored to be speaking with you here on Dreaming the New Earth.
Thank you so much, Clara. And yeah, it's a complete delight to be here. Thank you for creating this event.
Absolutely. So, for those who don't know you, Ellie, I'm going to introduce you with your bio, sharing your background. Ellie Paskell is a catalyst for self-love, healing, aliveness, and joy, a certified embodiment coach, somatic healer, guide for those going through the awakening process, and award-winning creative. Ellie supports people across the globe to find freedom from societal constraints and live the song of their souls by following the guidance in their bodies. The first 2 decades of Ellie's life saw her walk the path of an actress, performing for millions in her work on stage and screen. At 22, however, her body started to shout for attention with a debilitating fatigue that wouldn't go away. So in 2012, after 5 years of clinging to life as she knew it, she released her acting career and fully aligned with her soul. Excuse me. Since that time, Ellie has spent over 40,000 hours listening to and healing her body and guiding others to do the same. Ellie now shares her work in the form of global retreats, one-to-one coaching programs, and group courses, and will be there at your side when you're ready to release disease, honor your soul, and dance unfettered to the beat of your bones. Beautiful. And what Ellie will be sharing with us in this session is so important on this journey of awakening, as we were saying, which is returning to and remembering our natural self, our own true nature as humans. And the title of the session is The Guiding Light of Your Soft Creature Self, Freeing Your Body to Remake Our World. Ellie, very appropriate. Yeah, we were saying earlier how this is so needed for us to return to ourselves. I'd like to start though with if you could share a little bit about your personal journey from your own words. We've heard, the this change in direction that you took at some point in your life at 22, and why it brought you to where you are now, doing the work that you're doing. So if you could share about your personal journey and how you got here, that would be wonderful. A wonderful place to start, I feel.
Yeah, thank you, Clara. Mm. Yeah, as I hear you ask that question, what comes to me is an image of two versions of myself. The version of myself that had been cultivated to survive and even thrive in the world that I was brought up in, that many of us are brought up in the westernized world, and the version of myself that came to break through and come out in this lifetime to play her part in this rebirthing of our world and our coming home to nature. And yeah, for me, I learned early on to be a very good girl, a very good student. I became very successful quickly as an actress. I got all my grade A's in school. My life looked beautiful. And then when I was 22, I kept getting this horrendous fatigue in my body. And I spent a few years just thinking, la 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 la, my body is broken. I just need to try and be better and maybe sleep better and try harder. And but eventually delicious, wise beat of my inner elder caught my attention clearly enough that I stopped still and said, my body is not broken. This is profound guidance that it's time for me to listen to. And even when I was in the midst of the fatigue, in the confusion, and the distress of that, I could still sense the bright golden doorway that was being shown to me and the pathway that was being offered to me as an opportunity to say, if I don't make my body wrong, if I stop saying a good body will always be a body that can work 10 hours a day and smile when it's supposed to be happy and maintain the status quo of my role in this world and the status quo of our world, if I say, maybe when my body is saying no with this fatigue, it's speaking something really important, then the whole game changes. And so for me, there was a kind of Alice through the looking glass, softening in, relinquishing from my mind and dropping into my heart and saying, all right, universe, body, felt sense, show me what you've got. I'll trust you. I'll let go. And as I did that, I was guided to on some of the most wonderful, miraculous pathways to the support, the teachers, the healers, the places. I traveled through Asia. I learned from healers and guides. I learned primarily from my own body, and I discovered that this fatigue was not some kind of a random thing that would just come up in my body. It was always a voice that was saying, here is a boundary. And this is a boundary, a sacred boundary of your soul that you have been ignoring. And that doesn't make you bad. It's what you've been doing to fit in with our world. But you were only going to fit in with this world and play that game for a certain amount of time. And now it's time for you to do something differently. And so what I started to see was the fatigue would come up when I was betraying myself, betraying the sacred boundaries of my soul. I'd started to discover there's actually a vibrant rainbow felt sense wisdom in here that says, this is who I truly am. This is what truly turns me on. This is what truly lights me up. This is what I actually feel inspiring. This is what I actually want to say yes to and what I want to say no to. I actually don't want to keep under eating to try and be a certain shape to please the eyes of a certain kind of man. I actually don't want to keep pandering to my agent and people pleasing. I actually don't want to ignore the fact that my body needs a certain amount of rest and kindness and gentleness and slowness in my life. I'm going to stop pretending that I can numb all of this and still be a vibrant, happy, healthy, contributing member of society. And so it was this most beautiful journey to coming home to myself. And when I say that, it makes me want to take a breath and invite everybody else on this call in this moment. I'm going to invite you to let your eyes close if it feels safe for you, or simply soften your gaze and feel yourself supported by the furniture, the ground. And notice what it was that brought you to this session today. What was it that inspired you to come to one that had the word body in the title, that had the word soft creature self in the title? We're really being brought home to our essential natures at the moment, where our joy lives, where our health lives, where our inspiration lives, where our connection with life force, God, Goddess is residing. And for so many of us at this time, that guidance to do that is coming through the voice of our bodies, some kind of sensation, some kind of sacred voice. And for you, it might be an ineffable feeling and knowing that you cannot go against what feels true and right and good to you anymore. It might be a deep inspiration to play your part in this unfolding of the remaking of our world. It might be pain, it might be fatigue, it might be illness, something that has gotten your attention. And I'm curious, what is your golden doorway and what is it that you sense is behind the doorway for you, what it is you're being called towards, what you truly want and desire. And maybe you have a clear sense of that. And maybe that's something that, well, that will come through clearer for you in this session. And for me, while there's been all kinds of 3D external material world delights and benefits of coming through this journey, which of course has not always been easy and has needed a lot of um, comradeship, people I'm walking the path with, people that I see around me, like you, Clara. It's needed a lot of inward time listening to my heart, coming back to my body, my heart, and my soul over and over when I found myself knocked off course and thinking, maybe I should just go back to how things were before. But for me, the wonderful benefits as well as the a deepening sense of who I truly am, a releasing of a career that no longer worked for me and coming into doing what I do now, something that truly lights me up on all levels and really nourishes my body, nourishes the whole of me. Um, for me, the nub part of all of this has been a rekindling of what I was so sad to have lost through my teens and my time as a young woman, which was a feeling to a connection to innate joy, a capacity to have the kind of unconditional joy that we have when we're little, the connection with earth and sky and heart and soul and trees and not needing to get a grade A, not needing to look a certain way. There was a part of me when I was a young woman that even though I couldn't have worded it then was like, this is bullshit. Like where did my joy go? Where did my aliveness go? I want it back. And I will go to any length to retrieve it, which is what I have done and I continue to do and now support others to do the same thing.
Beautiful. Thank you for bringing us back through that pause to that stillness and that here and now. Ellie, how would you say we've lost touch with that wild and wise nature of our bodies, that incredible vessel that we've been gifted?
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So, to start this answer, I want to bring our awareness back to the title of this session. So, the guiding light of your soft creature self, freeing your body to remake our world. And I want to say that what we're really talking about here in this session is an invitation to you, everybody here present, to do what it is that you've been craving to do for decades, for lifetimes, for lineages, which is come home to an honoring of what you feel in your body. Because the distress and the mind pickle of living the way we've been conditioned to live, which is my emotions are inconvenient. I have to numb my instincts, my impulses. Um, I have to put my attention more in the compasses around me, what other people are doing, what my boss tells me to do, how my mother did it, what everybody's doing on the news. The kind of internal conflict and the internal war that creates for us has been driving us mad for centuries, if not thousands of years. And we've been living in this space of thinking, but this is just how life is, right? I see everybody around me pretending they feel a different way to how they feel, working more hours than feels good in their body, not prioritizing their desire for pleasure, putting everybody else's needs first. And it's been this, I think, silent volcano, which has been rumbling under the surface again for decades, for lifetimes, for lineages, which is now coming out sometimes with mess and pain and sometimes with kind of rainbow sparks as we're going, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like I've had clients who come to me and they say, I can't explain it. I just can't not listen to my body anymore. I just can't. I can't. It's like I actually can't. And um, let this be a big old permission slip to that intelligence inside of you that is saying, yes, absolutely. And the reason that I want to spend a little bit of time mapping how we've come to this place of being in disconnection with our bodies is because I want to highlight that this isn't the normal organic way to live. This is not just how life is. This is not just how the world is. And I say this with so much love for our world. And this is not going to be a session where I'm crapping all over everything about our society because there is still so much love here. There is so many hearts here. There were so many babies that were born today. There were so many people that fell in love today. There are so many amazing animals crawling around on our planet. Like, this is still a beautiful place. And the story that we've been telling collectively is one that we've co-created, and I believe is simply the way it was supposed to be for some reason. And now we're in a little bit of a shitty rock bottom, and we need to be in a bit of a shitty rock bottom because this is where we rise from. So I preface this by saying it's okay, guys. Like, we're where we need to be. This is the turning point. It's scary and it's wonderful. And the world that we're living in is insane. And let's be very clear about that. It's insane. A Course in Miracles teaches us that the thinking of the world is 180 degrees away from the thinking of God or love or goddess or nature or universe. And so it is. So, in order to further solidify and shiny that up a little so that we have even more freedom and capacity to do it a new way, yeah, I'll gently map out what I believe has gone down the past several thousands of years, which is why we are where we are. And, we know that there's been a kind of tirade against the feminine in our world for thousands of years, perhaps since the inception of the patriarchy, which at its roots is a very long time ago. We don't really know why that began, but we know that half of the attributes, the elements of our beings, our world, have been called bad, have been suppressed and shamed, whether we're talking about our intuitive nature, our cyclical nature, our sensitivities, our fiery organic passions, our capacity to orientate towards pleasure, whatever it is. Over thousands of years, our ancestors and us, we've learned, oh, don't get to go there. Oh, stay in my logical mind. Don't come to my body. And we can look a little bit in the more recent history to the arrival when the Roman Catholic Church really landed on the scene in a new way, um, between the fourth and the sixth centuries, and they made it illegal to worship at the sacred sites. And this was part of a kind of a movement that they brought in where they were teaching us to move away from our nature-based ways and basically to wrong and be suspicious of our own life force. And then this was compounded and built upon for hundreds of years. And then, of course, we saw another real rise in this um, between the 14th and the 18th centuries during the times of the witch burnings, when suddenly it became literally dangerous to be what we innately are. It became dangerous to be seen to be one who was living from intuition, was cycling with the moon, was living in an embodied connection. And then in the 18th and 19th centuries, we saw the rise of the Industrial Revolution, or the happening of the Industrial Revolution, which was absolutely, yeah, revolutionary for how we were living. And there was a mass exodus of humanity in many parts of the world, from the countryside to the new towns and the cities. So, and suddenly there was all of these new factories, and we were working and living in very different environments. And it's really important to note that what happened here was, as well as leaving the natural, soft, organic, connected environment of the earth and the grass and the trees and the creatures, we went into workspaces where our bodies became parts of the means of production. Everything about how we were working was so much changed. And all of a sudden, how we used our bodies and for how long for every day was not in our control. And so, in order to make our bodies perform in this way and so survive and perhaps in some cases thrive in this disconnected, fast paced, suddenly arrived world, we had to go into a kind of functional freeze, which allowed our bodies to show up even when they didn't want to show up, even when our souls were saying no. to say yes to our bosses when we meant no, because we were living from so many untrue beliefs around scarcity and competition and lack. And I'm going to take one final I want to say one final thing and answer this to this question, but before I do that, I'm going to invite all of us to come back for a moment because I just said a whole lot of stuff which may have been activating for you guys. So, however you're feeling right now, I invite you to, if you like, let your eyes close or turn your gaze inwards. You might like to bring a hand to your heart space in your belly. The name of the game here is to open kindly, deliciously to what you're feeling, to the nature of your being. And you might get a sense of how fast your heart is beating or the quality of your breath. Ah, and I invite you to notice how what I just shared with you landed. Is this new information? Is it really old information for you? Is it fine to hear it? Is there a part of you thinking, holy crap, there's another way? Just gently noticing. I'm going to take a moment here to actually soften in to what is holding you right now, if that's okay for you. And everything that I invite in this space is simply an invitation. But if it's all right, notice your body on the furniture and the ground. Imagine that rising up to meet you, to hold you, and give into that 1%. So that whatever it is that you're feeling in this moment, whether calm, anxious, numb, angry, inspired, whatever might be here for you, gets to be held by the support. And there's an invitation here to let it soften, even to let it open and bloom, like each of your cells gets to breathe more deeply right now. Nothing can be wrong in your body. It simply is, and it's all completely welcome. And before I move on here, I'll just also note I may guide you to stillness at times, but you may also find that as you tune into your body, what you want is to move. What you want is to shake. Oh, there's a whole lot of shaking out that we have not done and our ancestors never did. You might find that you want to wiggle or take deep breaths or make a sound. You might find that your body would like a shoulder massage or a foot rub or a jaw massage. This is a completely permissive space. Beautiful. Yeah, and so the final thing that I'm going to say here, Clara, about how this happened, this disconnection, is of course, these historical events have fed into our lives today and how we're being and how we're living. And for many of us, we experienced a real jolt when we went to school. And so I can feel that my inner child wants to come in and tell you a little bit about how it was for her. And I allow her to express this, and she expresses this now in an effort to support everybody watching to tune into their truth. And it may resonate, it may not, but she's here. And sometimes when my inner child speaks to me, she calls me mama. So she might do that now, FYI. And when I started to think about preparing for this session today, I could feel her coming in, and she was like, I know something about this. And she got her stool and she put it on the ground and she stood on it and she's like, first and foremost, I want to say that I love you all. And also what happened to me when I went to school and what happens to a million of us, it's insane. She's like, do you know I came into this world connected with God? Do you know that I came in as wise as the lions? I had the intelligence of life force, of the power that creates worlds, fizzing in every single one of my cells. Do you know that my innate propensity to come to my heart, to love myself, to follow what felt good, to prioritize fun and joy and pleasure is what made me the incredible, shining, delightful, God connecting, nature exuding being that I was when I was a child, that we all come in being. That wisdom that's there, the same wisdom that lives in the chickens and the lions and the sun and the planets, what's the word? Rotating in perfect proximity to other planets. She's like, that was in me. And then I went to school and there was a lot of beautiful teachers. She's like, there's a lot of beautiful teachers and we did a lot of fun stuff. And also, it was insane. She's like, do you know that they made me learn to cross my arms and put my fingers on my lips? Do you know that they taught me that my needs, what I felt in my body that I needed, was wrong? I wasn't even allowed to pee when I wanted. I had to put up my hand and wait. She says, do you know that they taught me that my innate belly rumbling, sacred desires were wrong? That I was told, I don't care if you think this is boring. I don't care if you don't want to learn about maths. I don't care if you don't want to learn about some dusty old man with a beard in history 300 years ago. You will sit and pretend that you're interested because what you want, do you think life is supposed to feel good for you? And she's like, so I learned that what I felt was wrong. And she said, and I was taught there's no time for emotion. There's no time for emotion. You don't get to be angry because good girls aren't angry. You don't get to be sad or tired because we have a schedule. She's like, they were like always pushing their fingers up their nose and coming back to the schedule and the timetable. And she said, basically what they're telling us is there's no time for aliveness, right? You have to sit and fit in the box. And she said, and probably the worst part of it was that soon they didn't have to tell me anymore because I did it for myself. Because I disconnected from that fire, that rage, those sacred soul embodied boundaries in me that wanted to say, shut up, teacher, I'm going to do what I want to do. I made all of that wrong. And I took all of that life force and all of that wisdom and I shoved it down and I hid it down in my body, which of course then rose up when I was 22 as this fatigue. But a part of me died. And I'm just going to take a breath here because I can feel all these rumblings in my heart. And I'm curious what's going on for you guys. Can you relate? Can you not relate? What's here for you? And my inner child says, she says, just like you said, Mama, that piece of, what happened in the Industrial Revolution and us, in order to be able to show up for work in a certain way, our bodies had to go into a quote functional freeze. She says, that's what happened to me as well at school. And this is a collective conditioning. This is a collective trauma, which is still considered so normal in our world that even the top trauma therapists aren't talking about this. We just think this is how education is. This is how the world is. No. So again, this beautiful invitation here to honor the revolution in your body, however it wants to come through, whatever it's saying yes to, whatever it's saying no to, because now we're here to do things differently.
Wow. Thank you for taking us to that place of childhood and school. And wow, it was spot on. Thank you for mapping that journey as well, of humanity, how we've come to this place now. And speaking of which, why is this changing now? Why is it time for us to come home to the wisdom of our bodies? We see a lot of this coming up in the somatic space, and a lot of work around the body and embodying what is happening.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, why is this happening? This is happening for the same reason that you're doing the beautiful work that you're doing, Clara, and making this event and all the other things you do. It's happening because we're in the great unraveling. This is a time that has been prophesized for millennia by almost every indigenous community on the planet. That we would come now and we would remake our world, that we would allow the redirection from fear to love. And it's really important to note that this well meaning still filled with beautiful kittens and beautiful ocean world, which is insane, was created by us, beautiful humans, our lineages, who were disconnected from their bodies. This is the way that we're able to create crazy things like education systems that don't inspire our children, like economic systems which don't provide for everyone, because we're missing part of the huge amount of the innate guidance, the cosmic knowing, the grounded earth knowing, the wisdom of nature, which it is our birthright and our responsibility to channel as human beings. We lost it. I like to say that we've been taking our cues from the Lost Boys. So looking at this within the context of patriarchal society for many years, it has been a case that we've been looking to the leaders, those in power around us who were often men, and men who were coming from a lineage of trauma that wasn't healed. And so they were in these bodies that were numbed up and shut down. They couldn't hear their heart brains or their belly brains. And so they did insane things all the time and created our upside down world. And so now it is our right and our responsibility to do this differently. You know, the innate knowing that comes through ourselves, I've said this before, so I can keep this answer short now. This is the power that creates worlds. This is the same intelligence which teaches the birds how to migrate across continents and find their way back to the same tree that they came from in a way that we just can't comprehend. The intelligence that comes through our felt sense, like literally our impulses, our emotions, our sensations, our desires, and our needs. This is the same intelligence that grows babies and, yeah, that keeps our planet spinning in perfect proximity to other planets. You know, me from 20 years ago would have said that what I'm saying is really woo, but this is the most fundamental, grounded, practical human reality truth that this is the wisdom that we need right now. We're not going to create our new world from the same level of thought that created the old one. And in order to create a world that feels like love, we have to come home to the loving flow inside. It stands to reason that when we're following what feels good, we create a world that feels good to be in. When we're following our flow of joy, we create a world that feels like joy to be in. And I'll just round off here by saying, when we're disconnected from our bodies, we literally cannot experience compassion or self compassion. We cannot know what it is, our human right to know, which is, oh, I am a sacred, alive being, and so is the earth. And I can feel that now. And I'm a sacred, alive being, and so are you. And I understand through the feelings in my heart that if I harm you, I harm myself. So it is my absolute belief that if and as and when, as we increasingly come home to this sacred alive knowing in what we feel, this is going to end the wars. Like there is no sense in creating war from this place. It's impossible. And this is a huge chunk in how we are going to and how we are remaking our world. Yeah.
Beautiful. Ellie, what would you recommend we can do maybe in our daily life as a ritual of some sort or a practice that we can incorporate to come back to that inner compass of our felt sense?
Yeah. So this is about flipping the script in your mind and your life. It's about coming home to the knowing in your being of the importance of following what feels right to you. It's about giving yourself that permission. And first and foremost, we need to take loving time to reconnect to the body and be able to hear it. This is a language which is the first language that all of us knew, and we can't forget it. And at the same time, it takes a little bit of coming home. And so, my invitation to everyone is to intend to take time daily in the way that feels most delicious to you. And it might be 5 minutes and it might be 5 hours to tune in to what you feel. And this means taking time in low stimulus environments in the way that, again, I can't emphasize this strongly enough, feels most delicious in your body. It's about stopping the pushing and the shoving and the shoulding. And it's about saying, all right, body, what would be most delicious to you right now? Is it taking some time in nature so I can hear my heart? Is it doing some body-based meditation, lighting a candle, burning some smudge? You can get my support to do that if you go and download the delicious somatic practice on my website. I'll say more about that later. For you, taking time daily to listen to your body might be an extra few minutes in the shower in the morning, really allowing yourself to feel the pleasure of the water on your skin, to breathe, to feel your feet on the earth. It might be taking time to dance every day. It might just be sitting down, putting your hands on your heart, setting a timer for 5 minutes and saying to your body, I'm listening, I want to know you, and noticing how it feels to breathe. And then, of course, as the guidance comes through for you, as you incrementally get to know yourself better, and this simply can't help but happen. It's about hearing that guidance and giving yourself permission to honor it. And I'm actually going to take us into a practice now, Clara, if that's okay with you.
Yes, perfect. Go ahead.
And I'll just say one thing about it before we do. So, we've been living in this wild world and doing things which we don't really want to do for a long time. And that's okay. It's really okay. We've been doing the best we can. And none of this is about getting overwhelmed. None of this is about thinking, oh my God, I have to make all these changes. And if I listen to my body, well, I just quit my job immediately and go and like hang out in a hot tub all day and lose everything. And it's like, no, although, if you have the capacity and the desire to quit your job and go and spend 6 months in a hot tub, Godspeed. Like, I am here for the radicals. Sometimes that is what's right. And sometimes we are within in many ways, beautiful container in our life where we want to give more space to our bodies. And so it needs to be a more gentle, incremental, still very powerful change. And so for this, I enlisted the tool for which I thank Red School, Alexandra and Shani, who created Red School. And they teach us the 1% rule. So this is tuning into the body, listening to what is needed and desired today, and then giving yourself at least, if nothing more you can give, 1%. Today, 1% of that, what you deliciously need and desire. And this is not a second-rate solution. The power, as they teach, the power of these small shifts is huge and it's revolutionary. So I'll touch on that in the practice now, which is why I wanted to speak to it. Is there anything, Clara, you want to say or add before we move into experience?
No, all good. We can go ahead and we'll just end off with one question. Is that all right? Or would you prefer the last question now? Before?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So the last question I ask all our speakers is, what is your personal vision or prayer for the new earth?
Hmm. When I hear you ask the question, what I get, and this is probably coming from my inner child again, what I get is an image of all of us with our feet rooted and rainbow rays of light glowing out from our hearts, our bellies, all places in our bodies. And it's representative of joy. It's representative of coming home to the songs of our souls. It's representative of freeing our life force and truly clicking back into that rhythm of, you know, love and aliveness, it can sometimes look like anger and mess and randiness and sadness and grief. It's not always shiny, but it's the welcoming of this sacred vitality. And really, that's what I'm seeing because part of the piece of the puzzle that I bring is when we come here and we truly follow what feels good, what feels right, what feels vitalizing in the body, that's an organic, effortless, like we accidentally remake our world. We accidentally sneeze out a new world. We can't help but come home to who we truly are. We can't help but make shifts in our lives. We can't help but change our world. And so our world does become this place of connection and gratitude and joy from this place where we are all glowing the rainbow light of our soul out from our bodies.
Beautiful. May it be so. Thank you, Ellie. So then we can finish off with this beautiful practice you're going to guide us in, and then people can just rest in that as we complete our time
Yeah,
here together. Perfect. Thank you.
great. Yeah, perfect. All right. So, all right, everyone. So we're going to be journeying for 10 to 15 minutes here, and I invite you to get really comfy. For you, that might mean lying or sitting or standing. It might mean you're feeling dynamic. You want to be moving, rolling on a yoga mat, making noises, wiggling around, dancing, whatever feels best for you. And if it's right for you, allowing your eyes to close. And know that there's absolutely nothing that you have to achieve right now. This is an invitation to freedom, to allowing. And again, I invite you to tune into the fact that you're not alone in this space. There's the ground and the earth beneath you. Nothing, quote, more is being asked of you than to be exactly who and how and where you are. She will hold you. And if it feels good for you, allowing your body to melt 1% more into that support. You might notice certain places of tension in your body, and it might be most loving simply to say, I see you tension, you're totally welcome. Or it might feel most loving to invite the tension to melt 1%. Let go. Beautiful. And I invite you now to turn your attention to outside of yourself. To turn your attention to the world with all its buildings, its people, its ideas and norms. And to notice where in this world your external compasses have been, where you have got your guidance from places outside of you. And these won't all be places that haven't served you. A lot of them are delicious. We often need support to get guidance. So a whole mishmash. Is it parents, spouses, children, teachers, your boss, the government, the news, social media, whatever it might be? Noticing what those external compasses have been for you. And noticing which of them have served you and perhaps still do serve you now in a way that they allow you to get the right kind of input and reflections so that you can hear with more clarity the voice of your truth. So maybe it's loving friends. Could be anything or anyone. Maybe it's the trees in the woods near you that help you connect to your heart. And with your next breath, Allow yourself to notice those points of external guidance that haven't served you and no longer serve you. So these are places that have made you feel like your body guidance is wrong, like you don't get to be who you are, like you have to do something that doesn't feel right to your soul or be someone. And again, it could be social media, a person, something you were taught as something you had to be, anything at all. Noticing that and those external compasses. Ah, noticing how it feels for you to be tuning into these. And for the purpose of this practice now, what I'm going to invite you to do is turn down the volume on all of those external compasses. So sense or envisage a big old volume dial in your mind, and as you're ready, turn it down to 0. So that all that is here is your precious heart, your belly knowing, the guidance, the awareness, the sensations in your body. And in this moment, they might feel clear, confused, or numb. All is welcome. And if you like, and you might like to do this by bringing hands to your heart space and belly, or giving yourself an all out hug, or you might prefer to leave your hands where they are. Making contact with yourself if it feels good. And if you like, saying, body, I am here. I want to know you. I'm listening. Show me what you've got. And this is all and only about ease and kindness and welcoming. And if it's okay for you now, I invite you to let your awareness land in the bottom half of your body. So here you've got feet and leg and hip. You've got genitals, pelvis, tailbone, belly. And I invite you so gently now to notice what you can feel. You don't have to stay still if you don't want. You can get stiller if you want. What are you feeling? Sensation, impulse, emotion, instinct, desire, numbness, confusion. It's all completely welcome. And whatever it is that's here for you, I invite you to let it be supported by the furniture and the ground, so that there is again a softening and a sinking into what is. Welcoming what you feel in the same way that you would welcome a good friend to be exactly who and how they are. As if every one of your cells is breathing, and every time they breathe out, there's a softening so that what you feel gets to be here with more ease. And as you're ready, bring that warm welcoming to the top half of your body. Abdomen and lower back, lung space and mid back, heart space and upper back, shoulders, arms, hands. neck and throat and head and face. What's it like for you to have hands when there's nothing that you have to do? What's it like for you to have a mouth when there's nothing that you have to say? You might even let your jaws gently open. Breathing with your heart, with your belly, noticing what it is you can feel in this top half of your body. Emotion, sensation, numbness, all is welcome. And then, if it's okay for you, taking a breath with the whole of your experience in this moment, everything you can feel. And if anything feels too much at any point, you can open your eyes, or you can simply imagine you're dipping a toe into what you're feeling. You're not all in feeling everything. And feeling as much as is okay for you in this moment, noticing your inner ocean, emotion, sensation. It might show up for you as a sense of rhythm or texture or color. And then, if you like, allowing your body to draw your attention to one feeling that it wants you to notice. Might be in one particular spot or all over. Might be a color, a desire, an emotion, a knowing, instinct, anything at all. Take 3 moments with that your body is saying, notice this. And allowing this question to drop in here as you feel this feeling. What is it telling you that you need or desire? What is this feeling saying yes to? Or it might be saying no to something. This might be something that tells you to set a boundary. It might be a feeling that's telling you something that you'd like to do today that would feel really, really delicious. It might be telling you to leave your job and start your heart-centered business. It might be telling you to take a little time later and call someone that you love or have a hug with someone that you love. To rest, to pleasure, to soften, to create, to dance, to scream, whatever it might be. What is your body telling you that you want and need? Mm. This is going to be something that feels delicious when you think about it, or feels right, might feel fiery, might feel soft. And then I invite you to tune into how your body is inviting you or asking you to give it to yourself today. What are you going to do or not do? And you might get an immediate knowing and a yes, awesome, delicious, that's the thing. Or you might get are you crazy? I can't do that. And if it's the latter for you, I invite you to enlist the 1% rule. So you might simply say, I'm going to give this to myself 1% today. What is the microdose? So maybe you're exhausted and you want to release the whole of your schedule today, but instead you take 5 minutes to put on an eye mask, curl up under your desk with a cushion or in bed or in your car or wherever you might be, and breathe and soften and rest. Maybe your body is telling you that you've got to quit your job, but it's way too overwhelming. So today you take time to vision board about what your new job will be, or you gently write an email to a headhunter, or, who knows what it might be. You paint a picture, you do something which turns you on, that feels better than the job, whatever it might be. You can use the 1% rule. Or if you're here with something radical, if your body is saying it is time for this and your soul is on board and your human is on board, then wonderful. And whatever this guidance is for you, take a moment with it, let it sink in. And as we close down the practice here, I invite you to thank yourself for taking this time. Thank your body for sharing with you. And feel free to stay with eyes closed if you like, but if you want to come out into a more dynamic space, gently wiggling the fingers and the toes, allowing some light to be blinked into the eyes. And here we'll close. Mhm. Mhm.
Ellie, you have a beautiful gift for our audience. Would you like to share a little bit about what that is? We'll have, of course, the link below this video. So yes, what can we do to how can we claim it and what is it about?
Absolutely. So this is a practice with a similar energy to what we just did, but done in a different way, called receiving the guidance in your body. And the beautiful thing about this is you can download it, you can have it in your back pocket, have it on your phone, have it on your device, and do it anytime that you need to come back to sanity, to your soul, to love, to that true nourishing next step. Anytime that you're feeling confused or lost, or just knowing that you need that support to find clarity, any point in your day. Yeah, so you can go to the link somewhere beneath this or with this video, click on that. Yeah, and get that and receive my support whenever you need to stay in touch with this soul nourishing sacred guidance.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that generous gift. And thank you, Ellie, again for being part of this and yeah, many blessings.
Thank you, Clara.